Okay, Tracy, the floor is yours. We are going to have a very, very amazing call. Everything's ready.
Awesome. Well, good morning, everybody. Tracy Smith from San Diego, and excited to be here with you this morning. I am going to do my first keynote. I've never used Keynote. Is that so funny? Lance always does these for me, and I decided I was just going to dive in this week and be able to work this. And so hold on. There's my enter. Ah. Where am I here? I forgot about the mouse. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so today's topic is daily method of operations. And I do want to start by telling you, just being honest. Oh, it's a recording thing. Okay, being honest, I've been working on this week, and yesterday I was just finalizing a lot of my little details, and I started the morning just totally getting off track. My mom called, she had a little health emergency, and so I had to run out and do that. Everything just kind of collapsed. You know how you have your day all set up, that is how it's supposed to go. And, things happen. And so, this last 5 years has kind of been like that for Lance and I. We've had a ton of challenges with family and health. We've had, best friends that have passed away. We've just had a lot happening. In the last 5 years, I actually have 6 grandchildren. Yesterday, my daughter Casey, she's not due until June 13th, and she called and she said, I'm dilated to 2 and this baby's going to come early. I mean, just everything kind of happened. And here I am trying to say the daily method of operations, that how you have things scheduled out, but life happens. But I do want to say, after being in this industry for over 35 years, it was absolutely amazing that I keep having these little things that pop up saying English. Can you all see this okay? I hope you can. Can you give me a thumbs up? Oh, I hope you can. Oh, thank you, thank you. On my screen, there's some weird things happening. Oh, there we go. Okay, so because of this industry, things are going to happen anyway in life, right? And so in this industry, I'm so grateful for it because it allows me the chance to be able to take care of those things that come up that are very urgent. Even though I have the important details of my day that I want to have happen. And so let's talk about building a legacy, because that's what happens when you're building this business. It just gives you all those options to take care of the things that need to be taken care of without having to go to a boss and having all of that stress. You can have the freedom to be able to take care of the things. So good morning to this morning's huddle, and I hope you get something out of this today. Oh, why isn't it going? Hey, George.
Yes.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, so we're going to talk about these things today. DMO, daily method of operation. We're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about lead generation. We're going to talk about follow-ups and relationship building, content creation, that this is a team support system, and personal development. And then we're going to talk about review and reflect. So today we're going to talk about mindset. A positive, you want to start every day in a positive tone. It's super important. When you wake up, I hope that you pull out something that you're reading that just sets your mindset. I use this Good Morning Journal. I love it. It has little prompts that kind of tell you, hey, what do you think about this? And it just gets you in the right frame of mind. I love starting out with that. I start off with an app called PEP, P-E-P. It's really great. It just has a little message, and it inspires you and gets you ready for the day. A lot of people listen to podcasts, or little messages, or they get quotes. And I think it's so important, because if you really start your day that way, it sets your frame of mind, and it gets you to where you want to go, and it makes you that person that other people need to talk to. And so I hope you use those kind of things. A lot of people use spiritual things. I love listening to like a Joel Osteen. He just sets my mindset. mindset. And I know people have different people that they listen to, but start your day with an inspirational message. Review your goals. It's super important. You know, I keep a book that I have the goals that I want to attain, things that I want to run for, and I review those really quick because it gets me into the frame of mind. And it also trains your mind to hear what's around you. You know, when you know what you're looking for and what you're going for, when you've reviewed your goals, all of a sudden you hear the messages of you know who you need to talk to, who's going to get you to those goals, and who you can help achieve theirs. Plan your day. It's super important. Again, yesterday I had my whole day planned and it got swiped out from underneath me, but that's okay. I mean, that happens, that's life. And so plan your day and work your plan. It's really important. So because yesterday got, swept up, because I planned my day, I have a little extra to do today to catch up. Review your calendar, super important. Know what's coming up, know what you need to do, know what has happened in the past, and be able to plan and review that calendar to know what's happening. Prioritize your tasks. It's so important. I think I've told you this before. When we were first starting out and building our business, Lance would say, I would be running around because I needed to vacuum the house. We were having somebody over. I had to, dust. I had to clear the driveway. I had to do all of these things. And he would say, "Hey, Tracy," he goes, "Stop. Is this hireable?" And it was really an important lesson for me. The most important things you can do when you're running really hard for a goal is to be on track and prioritize what is going to help you get there the fastest. Now, yes, it's important to have, a clean environment and all of those kind of things. That's super important, but it's not as important as making sure that the people in your group and where you're going and where you're headed are taken care of first. And so prioritize those things. Do the hard things first so that the easier things are going to happen later on in the day. Set specific intentions. Really important. We just got done with a promo, and it's really important to set that specific intention. I want to hit this. I want to help these many people hit that. And so prioritize those. A lot of people will, they'll put it by number. These are the first things I need to do, and then the other things can fall after. And so I hope that you're doing that. Connect with, one of the specific intentions I always have is I at least want to connect with 3 to 5 prospects daily. And so I do that online and I do that offline, and we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But I also want to, set showing the plan, STP, and or follow up with 3 leads. I always want to have something in play. And I think that's really important that you teach your people to always have something in play also. The worst thing you can hear is when you're sitting down with a new person or a person that's active in your organization and they said, "I've ran out of contacts." No one ever runs out of contacts, by the way. You just have to teach them how to contact and how to prospect. And it's so important to do those kind of things. I remember sitting in a meeting and I was sitting with an accountant and she said, I've gone through my list. I don't have anybody else. And that's the job of the sponsor to be able to say, "No, that's not how it works." And you actually train them on how they can get more prospects. We did a lot through social media. I put in her area into a search in social media, and all of a sudden people came up, and then she's an accountant, and so we put accountant in her area, and all these people came up and she could connect with those people. There's ways that you can help people find people and teach them how to prospect and teach them how to be social. And so very, very important. Visualize your success to boost confidence for your day, for your mindset. Super important. Visualize where you want to be and how it's going to be, and it'll inspire you to make it happen. Lead generation is super important for active prospecting online. Again, we talked about social media pages. You need to go out there and you need to be active in your social media pages. I know that Tracy Economy and Renee do a lot with the social media page for business. And it's so important that you're active in that. And, you know, a lot of people go, well, I just don't know what to post. Okay, well, that's great. You'll learn how to do that. But you need to be active as in liking things and commenting on things and driving people to those social media pages. I run a page called Facebook Launch, and I love it. Whenever you're reading or you find a great post and you share it, people need to be active in that, because what you're active in shows people that you're interested, that you're growing your business, and that you're part of a team because you're supporting that team. You know, be active in social media groups. Again, super important. Post value-driven content. It's so great for you. You know, people, I like to post on social media, and I like to post about our products and our business and our opportunity and our lifestyle. People see that, and more people than you know. You know, when you're out there and you're building your organization, I always picture that you're putting people in this big arena. You know, some people say yes and they want to be players on the field, but some of them want to be observers and they want to watch you and they want to make sure that you're solid and that you're going to make these things happen. And so I picture that every person that I ever introduced to 3, I'm putting them in a coliseum and they're looking down on the field and they're watching us all play. Right. And what happens is they know the score. You know, it's super important. You know, when you're watching that team play, you know, and the people are in the observers, they know if you're making points. You know, imagine a football game, right? And people are active in there and you're watching this, you know, and of course it's our team, but you're watching and you're saying, okay, who's winning and how's it going? And what if that football game didn't have any score? They never had a touchdown. What a boring game, right? You want to be able to direct people and show them what 3 can actually do. Talk about other people's successes. You know, it does, you know, when I first got in, I didn't have success, you know, when we first got in and we were starting to build. And so I would be pointing at all the other people that were, because I was still on the field. I was still the cheerleader, but I was still directing and helping the team grow. And so it's so important to be able to post value-driven content. Of course, you don't want to just be 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. They want to see your life, right? They want to see your kids win. They want to see what you're interested in, you know, that big fish that I'll post. I'm not fishing every day, but I'll post some, you know, of our lifestyle shots. You know, I see Adrian, you know, she posts that she's out there and she's running after she does some business. Then she goes out and she runs and she's showing them that she's actually active in her health. You know, what are you posting? Think about those kind of things. Of course, prospecting is offline also. You know, attend social events. It's so important. You know, go to parties, introduce yourself, and wherever you are, be there. That is something that a lesson that I've learned over the years is when you're there, you know, talk about, you know, their interests and ask them questions. You know, we talk a lot about family, occupation, recreation, and I say money, but it's miracle, whatever you're
And wherever you
but
are,
ask people those kind of
that
things
is
and get them involved in the conversation. You know, ask them about them and you'll find little niches that you can bring 3 into and friendships into. It may not even 3 at the beginning. You want to make as many friends as possible, and you want that friend, that new friend, to want to introduce you to their friends. That's how you build this huge community. So go to community events. What do you know, one of my questions I ask everybody, what do you do for fun? What do you like to do for fun? And then I ask myself, what would I like to do for fun? What am I interested in? You know, Lance and I, we love hiking. And so when we're out there and we're talking with people, we're like, you know, what do you do for fun? And they always pause. You know, people forget that, you know, they're just doing the regular routine all the time. And they're like, what do I do for fun? Oh, you know, we like to hike. Oh my gosh, where do you hike? And you get them talking about those kind of things. Oh, we should meet up and hike, you know, and those are the ways that you're building prospect lists and contacting, and you're going out and you're meeting people. So it's not just an online business. It's not just an offline business. It's a combo of both. Follow-ups and relationships are so very important with your team. That's something that you should be doing daily. You should be reaching out to people in your organization that are active and that are maybe not active. Connect with them. You can do that by phone calls. You can do that by text messages. You can do that by emails, and you can do it by social media DMs. I don't use personally email very much because I think everything goes to junk. I look at my email and I can't stand it. But for calls, it's super important. And I'm getting so much better at that because I am a huge texter. I love to text because I think it's not intrusive. I don't think I have to fit it into their day. But you know what? There's nothing like a voice call. And it's so important because you really get to talk with people and they feel valued. I am getting into a lot of voice text now too. I've learned through the years that some texts come across very harsh and that you need to be able to get your voice out there, your inflection in your voice, the emotion, and it's funny because people respond better to voice text than they do just a plain text. And so I hope you try those kind of things out. You can even do the voice text, over your social media DMs. Try it. And it's funny because I've always wished people happy birthday. That's something that I do daily because it just keeps that conversation going through social media. But I've started using the voice text and I get people responding saying, "That is so nice. That's so cool that you took the time." But you know what? It takes less time to do a voice text than it does to type out a text. So try those kind of things. I think you'll find some success in it. Goals, listen and provide sharing tips. Ask about their family, their friends, their kids, their health. They want to know that you care about them, right? They don't know how much you care until you ask them and you're involved in their life. Again, when we go and we meet new people, I use my calendar and, it's funny because I still use this paper calendar, but I actually switch over into the days, and so I'll write down, hey, I just met Atkin and he has, he's married, he has a son and he lives here. And I write down those notes. So when I go back and I'm going to talk to him, I remember, oh, that's right. He's newly married and he has a son. People want to know that you care about them and that you know about them and that you're invested in them. So ask them those questions, but don't just forget about that. You got to remember that, about those people. Answer questions, after you ask about, them, answer their questions. They might say, gosh, I went out and I sprained my ankle and I've been having this swelling, so I haven't been able to attend a meeting because I can't drive or whatever they're saying, and say, oh my gosh, I feel so bad about that. What can I do for you? Have you thought about taking Revive? Revive reduces inflammation. It might be something that you can insert the business into, but you can also act that you're telling them that you care about them. Offer those solutions. And again, schedule, show the plans, follow-ups, and it's so important to book a meeting from a meeting when you're scheduling those daily, you're doing the daily method of operation. The reason why we like to book a meeting from a meeting before we leave is because it's proactive and it's not pushy. It's just so important. It just saves you that whole step of another call, another roundabout of not getting connected, and then the weeks go by without talking to that person. So be proactive in your building your business. Use storytelling to share your journey. It's so important. We talked about developing your story, and I know we've had those huddles, and they're really important. I got involved when I was a bank teller, and Lance was working retail. We wanted to get married. We couldn't afford it. We lived in San Diego. We actually dated quite a while, 4 years before we got married. Got in the business and built 2 years before we actually were married. It was hard, but we used delayed gratification because we knew where we were going. We set our goals. We found this industry. It was absolutely amazing. We didn't have any money, but we could afford to do it. We've enjoyed 35 years of time freedom and financial freedom. It's been an incredible industry for us. I I urge my kids to be in an industry like this because it just gives you the options. You can stay at home, raise your kids if you choose to or not. You can afford a nanny. There's just so many things that this industry gives you, but share your story with people, not pushing it, but just sharing it. Use other success stories. When we first got in, because we were single, we were young, and we didn't have any credibility, we shared the stories of our support team. How they got involved. They worked for a couple of years. They actually were retired. They bought a motor home. They started a family. These are the people we're working with. It was so inspirational. We wanted to do it too. And we would love to introduce you to our support team. Use their stories. People are sharing their stories every single day on social media that are in 3. Use their stories. Last night, I used, Dr. Alicia's story. Oh my gosh, she's a chiropractor. She has an incredible, successful business. Why, after all of this training, was she interested in building 3? And so we share their stories with people that are like-minded to bring them and introduce our businesses. Include before and after shots when appropriate. It's so important, you guys. A picture tells 1,000 words. Isn't that what they say? And it's great. So use these before and after pictures. A before and after picture doesn't just have to be our product picture. It can be a lifestyle picture. Before I was sitting on a bank fishing for trout, hoping they'd come by, to now I fish on a big boat that I can actually hook up and the fish can swim faster than the boat. Before and after, exciting. And I hope someday a fish swims by until I'm going to go get that fish, because I built a business that allows me to kind of do those things. You can do a lot of before and afters. Don't just get stuck on products. This builds belief and trust in the business because they see the success. Team support, so important. Check in with your team members, offer guidance, answer questions that they have, provide motivation. So important. Hey, did you hear about, so-and-so or the growth, or did you hear about the new whatever that is, but provide motivation. I'm always reading, and I'll find little excerpts that I just absolutely love. Do I keep those just to myself? No, I'll post them on social media. The reason why is hopefully it motivates that person. I often get a comment in this section that says, wow, thank you for sharing that. I needed that so much today. You need to provide, that's who you are. That's how a leader becomes a leader, is that they're motivating their organization, they're keeping them together, and they're making them feel loved. So important. Share your resources. We have training Zooms, so many training Zooms. We have huddles. We have the morning Mondays and the morning Wednesdays at 6 a.m. my time. We have Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We have George and Adrian and Christine, and we have these huddles, and we have so much at our fingertips. Share that information with people. Invite them in to listen and be part of that. These team huddles are absolutely wonderful. Every morning, I love plugging in and listening. It was so great to hear Kimberly Starr yesterday. She was fantastic. And you know what? It wasn't just Kimberly. It was the comments after, right? Too. It was all of you together that are helping be the glue that keeps this business, tight and happy, nurturing, and a family. It's so very important. I thank George and Adrian for always putting all of this together and being so professional with it. Recommend tools. It's great. We have so many tools. We have the Wow Book, but we have so much more. We have all of these recordings. We have books. We have podcasts. We have so many tools at our fingertips that used to cost a lot of money. And I kind of wish they still did. And people might go, Tracy, we don't need to make money off of tools. It's not about making money. I don't care if I make a dime. I just kind of wish that people had to invest in it so that they wouldn't take it for granted. And I'm really going to nail it. people take this for granted. It used to cost, us $5 for a recording like this morning each, and if you're going to pay for it, you're going to listen to it. I wish
That's true.
everyone had I wish everybody had that mindset that, gosh, I'm investing. You are investing. You're investing your time. So make sure that you're utilizing the tools that are made available to you. There's so much. I know there's Mel Robbins, there's this PEP, there's everything on YouTube that you could listen to. There's so much out there. Invest in yourself and utilize tools and celebrate people's wins. It's so important. I don't care if they're in my organization or outside my organization. Whenever they're winning, I'm celebrating. I don't even care if they're just not part of 3. I'm going to celebrate people's wins. It's so important. People are out there. They're trying. They're running. They're winning. Some of them maybe are having a hard time, but celebrating other people's wins gives them the belief that, hey, I just need to reset and I need to go again, and be part of that. Always be the cheerleader for people, especially when they're trying and they're winning. This again fosters a positive team culture, and that's all we want. We want to work with people that want to work and that want to have a great life, and that they're going to be part of our lives and are part of our family. 6, personal development. These I put these minutes up there, like 15 to 30. It only takes 15 to 30 minutes, for personal development. Again, books, training calls, podcasts, and events. It's so important to be part of that. That's your personal development. We have Salt Lake City coming up, June 26th through 28th. And I can't wait. You know why? Because we all get to see each other face to face, and we're shoulder to shoulder, and we're cheering people on, we're learning, and it is absolutely important. Whatever you have to do to get to Salt Lake, you need to go to Salt Lake. And we have time. We have time for you not to go by yourself, but to bring people with you and bring friends and tell them what a great time it is. Everyone wants to have a great time. Know their personalities. I know Christine has talked so much about that. Know their personalities. Hey, we're going to have the best time. It's going to be like a party. We have a party event, the 80s. It's going to be so fun for that person that, is going to like that personality. Or hey, they're going to go through every detail from A to Z. That's why you need to be in SALT for the detailed person. Hey, you need to go because that's how you're going to get up on stage, and that's how you're going to be able to speak for those people that like to be instructors. Hey, you're going for the person that's just a follower. You're going, get in the car. So just know those personalities and talk to their personalities to make sure that they attend those events. Okay, so the end of the day, assess your process. For a daily method of operation, you want to sit down and say, did I meet my daily goals? What was my goal? Yesterday, I did not meet my daily goals. I had to bring those back over into today. I'm going to have a longer work day today, but that's okay. Did I meet them? No, but today I'm going to be able to meet them all. I'm going to have to do double the work. It's okay. What worked well? It's a question that you should always ask yourself. What worked well? When you're sitting down, you're really reflecting and thinking, gosh, when I actually used that voicemail with Cindy, it worked much better than that text message. I need to do more of that. That worked really well. And so ask yourself those kind of things. And then as you look through your day, what needs improvement? Gosh, I was a little bit maybe strong when I talked to Sam. I was a little strong. I think he needs to feel a little bit more loved. I think he needs to be a little bit more in the loop, right? And so just know that, acknowledge that, and then, get better at it. Adjust tomorrow's DMO track, the number of prospects contacted. How many for tomorrow? How many do I need? I was going to do 3 to 5 yesterday, didn't get it done. So now I want to do, 6 to 10 today. I need to have those prospects in my calendar. Number of product sales. I enjoy product sales. I really do. I love when I get that ding and it says, you've just made $17.50 if I've sold a collagen, right? I like that. I just I go winning every time. Anytime it dings, I'm like winning. And Lance laughs. He thinks it's so funny. But I love it. I love it because I believe so much in our products and I know that they help people so much. And I know that when that customer dings and I get that 1750, I'm going to go back and I'm going to talk to them and I'm going to say, how am I going to make that customer into a business associate conversion. It's important. I'm always talking about, hey, I know that you're enjoying that collagen. You know that we have other products that, you have the belief, of course it works. Can I introduce you to the other products? And wouldn't you rather buy those? In fact, wouldn't you rather get those products for free? And some may not. Maybe they just want to be customers and I thank them and it's great. And I might send them samples of something else. But so many times they believe so much in the product, they're like, well, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I want to represent that? Why wouldn't I be that person that builds three and actually can make it a supplemental income or a great income, right? So, this is just an example. I know that people have set aside times that they can actually work a business. For me, I try and work 4 hours every day, well, Monday through Friday. And then Saturdays are all about contacting, prospecting. That's just how I work. And so this is just an example of kind of what my day usually looks like. 7:30, I'm on this huddle. I love it. It sets my day and I'm excited about it. 8 o'clock, lead generation, prospecting time, online and offline. A lot of people go to a gym in the morning and that's their prospecting time. A lot of people do it online. A lot of people go for hikes. A lot of people do it at work. I mean, there's a lot of times, but that's how I set my time. 9 o'clock is follow-ups. I go out and I review in my calendar, who do I need to talk to? Who do I need to touch today? 10 o'clock content creation. I love that. I read things online. I read books. I go in my past, in my memories on my social media, and I see what I've posted in the past that was a good post that I can bring forward. That's what I do, content creation. And then team support, who in the team, you write down all of your personals and you work not just personals, but you want to work in depth too. And you want to see, who do I need to support today? Where are we going? Salt Lake's coming up, Yuba City, we're doing on May 31st. Who do I need to support in that area so that makes that meeting effective? So that's team support. Again, personal development, you need to do that every day. And again, don't forget to review, reflect, and plan for tomorrow. So consistency, this is a post Lance actually put, not with the image, but Monday, I was consistent, 100%. Tuesday, 80%. Wednesday, 5%. It was like my yesterday. It just got blown out of the water. But Thursday, now I have to have 420% because I have to make up for that time. It's just the art of not feeling 100% every single day, but showing up anyway, right? Things happen in your life, but you still need to have that consistent effort. You see some people, it's like in the mall, they're working and it's like the escalator, they're going up and then all of a sudden something happens and they get off track. You don't just stop, you start going backwards. And so you might have to walk a little bit faster to get back up to where you're going. You don't want to see people stop and fall off the escalator, right? You want to keep them there and you want to help them. So when you see somebody that has gotten off tracks, life happens, be there for them. Hey, what can I do for you? One of my leaders, my main leaders, she has a whole bunch of family coming in, this week. And I know she's going to be off track. So before that, I call her and I say, hey, what can I do for you this week so that we keep everything going the way that we need it to go? And they're appreciative of that. They know they can count on you, but you know what? You can count on them too for when life happens to them. So consistency is a key. Leverage technology. Focus on income producing activities. It's so important. Make sure you're doing that. Adapt it to your lifestyle. And that's what I have for you today. So I hope that made some sense to you. I'm going to stop share. How do I do that? Oh, escape. And then stop share. And there you all are. Anyway, it's been a pleasure to be with you this morning. I look forward to tomorrow. We've had a great week of meetings, and I'm going to hand it back over to George.
Thank you very much. Amazing training. Make sure, by the way, you watch the recording because there is information that you want to make sure that you don't miss. Let me actually, okay, I'm just putting the recording link on the right side to the YouTube channel. You can copy that and you can go. Make sure you go through all that because there are so many great ideas on how you can keep your mindset on the business. Tomorrow, by the way, we are going to be going very deep into social media. I'm going to go strong because social media is so important today. Oh, everywhere. Still, we do the old way, by the way. Still, we connect with people face to face. Still, we call people from our phone, etc. Now, social media is helping you to reach people that you usually don't reach other ways. But anyway, as a matter of fact, I just said the YouTube. Perfect. Anybody has any questions or comments before we go?